This is part 2 of a speed test for the HTC 10, the Samsung Galaxy S7, the LG G5, and the Nexus 6P running Android and Developer Preview 3. If you watched my video yesterday, I did a speed test that pretty much went over many of the basic apps of these phones. Opened all the apps up, ran it through 2 rounds, and recorded who did it the fastest. If you haven't watched it, I'll throw a card up there so you can take a look. For this round, I'm going to do something that's a little more GPU heavy. I'm going to be running games on this. I'm going to try to see if I can get all the games to run at the same time, see which comes up first. But I'm also going to keep all the games in the background and see if they can still all come up without having to restart. I've done a similar test in the past before, but without the HTC 10, so I'm kind of familiar how the results will be. I haven't had a chance yet to see how well the HTC 10 works as far as gaming goes, so let's give it a try. Again, all 4 of these phones have been factory reset. The only apps I'm going to be adding are the games. I'm not going to be uninstalling any apps. I'm not going to be disabling anything else on these phones. And just a reminder, none of these phones have SIMs in them. If the phone is capable of expandable storage, none of these phones have micro SDs in them either. All these apps were installed on internal storage. What I'm going to try to do is launch one game on all phones at the same time. And just a reminder, the S7, the HTC 10, and the LG G5 all have Snapdragon 820 processors with an Adreno 530 GPU. The only different one is the Nexus 6P, which is a generation behind. It's running a Snapdragon 810 version 2.1 processor with an Adreno 430 GPU. First game up is Dead Trigger 2. I'm gonna try to move these icons over here so I can press them all at the same time. God, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. 3, 2, 1. That's as close as I'm gonna get. Three, two, one. Alright, I'm going to keep the game in the background. I'm going to go to the next game, which is Asphalt 8. 3, 2, 1. Next up, Mortal Kombat X. Now I have 2 games in the background. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we have those 3. Next up is Real Racing 3. 3, 2, 1. And the last game I have is called Modern Combat 5. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now let's see if we can go to all the other games that were in the background and see if they're still running or if they need to restart. We'll look at Dead Trigger on the Samsung Galaxy S7. That looks good. On the HTC 10, good. On the LG G5 is good. So it looked like all three of these were okay, the Snapdragon 820s, but on the Nexus 6P, it looks like it had to restart. Let's try Asphalt 8 on the HTC 10. Good. Samsung Galaxy S7. Good. LG G5. Good. Nexus 6P. It looks like maybe having 5 games up for the Nexus 6P might be a little too much to handle for it. I know with a prior test, I think I had less games, and I think the Nexus 6P was able to hold everything in memory. I'm just going to take a look. Real Racing 3. This one looks like it's here, so that one looks okay. For now, we'll leave the 6P out of this. While this is able to still open games and play fine, it looks like it might not be able to hold all the games at one time in memory. And now I lost track of which games were up and running. So let's just go through this again real quick. Looks like all three of these are fine. So it looks like for the HTC 10, the Samsung Galaxy S7, and the LG G5, all of them seem to open the games fine. All of them are kept in the background, which is great. On the Nexus 6P, while these opened all the games fine, it looks like it wasn't able to handle all of it in memory, which is why I had to restart some of the games over. It looks like the HTC 10 out of the 820s took the longest to open the games up. G5 opened most of the games quicker than all of these four. The S7 seemed to hold its own fine, either first or second. Now, as far as gameplay goes and like longevity of playing like really high intensive GPU games, I can't speak on that behalf, but I can talk about what opens the quickest, what seems to keep them all in the background. All three of these new flagship phones seem to do the job. And while the 6P might have not been able to do the job keeping up with these three flagships, for what it is, for the price it's at around $450 or so, this is still a steal of a phone. But from what I put together, it looks like the G5 and the S7 seem to do the best when it comes to gaming, or at least opening the games up and starting them up right away. So while the HTC 10 might have been the first yesterday in terms of a speed test when it comes to opening up basic apps, it looks like it might have a harder time when it comes to more graphic-intensive games or graphic-intensive apps. I'm not really sure what the cause of that would be, especially because these three have pretty much identical hardware. It might be just the way HTC tweaks things, I'm not sure. At the end of the day, you're still talking about flagship phones that can do the vast majority of things, perform really well, open apps up well. Performance seems pretty rock solid. The question is, are you looking for something that has better external speakers? Are you looking for something that has the best camera, display, battery, modularity, waterproofing, expandable storage, so many other factors. And let's not forget price. That's a top one too. Anyway, I'm just here to share my information. Hope this has been helpful.